Hello, sports fans. Larry Allen here, along with the head coach of the Carthage Bulldogs, Scott Surratt. Henderson Lions coming up tomorrow night. We're filming this on Thursday. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But last Friday night, the Ford Center at the Star in Frisco, what a game it was. The Bulldogs down by 15 at one point in the first half, down by 14 in the second half, rallied, won it, and a game you seldom see the winning team ahead only on the last play of the game. Quite a game, Scott.
It was an incredible game. It was a lot of fun. It challenged you know, as players. It challenged all our players. Challenged our coaches. It challenged our fans. It was extremely exciting, and you know, we were fortunate to come out on top. And they had a great football team. We knew that going in. And there was no question how much talent they had on the field after watching them on tape. And you know, they were big, fast, and physical, and you know, that's the three ingredients you need to advance at this point in the playoffs. And you know, so we matched their intensity, and we didn't play perfect and didn't play great at some times, and they had some to do it. That's what great football teams do, make you play bad. We had, you know, some bad calls by me, and you know, but that's going to happen every game. We're not going to score every play, and defensively we're not going to stop them every play. So once we don't stop them, sometimes you know, the coaches question themselves. But it was a you know, we hadn't played for some reason in that stadium. We've had problems lining up and getting personnel on field or something. And one time, Kel Williams went down. We were lining up really well offensively, and he went down. And it's like you know, we had to shift a lot. We had Baylor Collie over to X, and then put a new R in, a new receiver in, and so there was some exchangeable parts there that you know, they hadn't played a whole lot lately, and so we dealt with that. But it was a great game.
All right, I got a couple of plays that I know the fans want me to ask you about. One would be the touchdown on the final play of regulation.
Yeah, it was. We threw the slant on 2 plays before to Tucker Smith. He cut his route off short a little bit, so the guy jumped him, but we did see the corner jump it, and we come back to a slow-go, and that's a slant and go, and we did have him open, and we barely missed it, and then on the last play, we went to Caden Holcomb, and you know, if we get one-on-one, we instructed to throw it to him because he does make crazy catches, and you know, we liked that one-on-one matchup, and made a great catch. And by our view, he's definitely over. I'm sure if they're looking at it, they think he's not. But it was so close, and the official told me there's no doubt he's over. The reason I was waiting on it to make sure he didn't bobble it and carry through with a catch. That's the reason the late signal. But when you look on tape, and every one of our players got their hands up because they thought he scored and they're running toward him immediately. And then, you know, there's about 3 or 4 of their players are saying no good, and the other ones were waiting. So they were in question, and our kids wasn't. So. And, of course, I had some homers, one of my brother and some other friends down there right on the line, and they said there's no doubt he scored. And I said, yeah, there's no doubt. The official stuck his hands up there.
You talking about Stan?
Yeah, Stan. He said there's no doubt. And he said only if he bobbled it, he may not have scored. But he said I didn't see no bobble. Well, there's no bobble on tape whatsoever. So,
all right. Now, the other play would be the 2-point conversion that was the winning score to Cavante Dixon, that play.
Yeah, it was one that we ran earlier down on the goal line, and Baylor read the corner as looking at him, so he tried to run him off, and the corner wasn't looking at him or came off of him early, and he made the tackle. And we said, man, we got to come back to that. And honestly, you know, when they scored to make it 35-28, said, all right, we're going to go for 2. We're getting out of here. And or 42 when they made it 42-35. I'm sorry. And I says we're going to get out here, and we already knew it was our number 1 2-point play going into the game, and we burn it, or we used it. Or I won't say burn it. We used it earlier because we were trying to score down there because we had the penalty with the holding call with which on our screen, which was very questionable. But anyway. Moochie ran the RPO, run pass option. We threw it out there, and he ran it down to the 3. and he was, if we say, dying of teenage exhaustion. And he was really, really tired and banged up a little bit, and so we stayed away from him a little bit the rest of that time. And I said, we've got to get him some rest. And so we just didn't trust that play in that moment. And I said, let's kick this field goal, our extra point. Let's tie it up. Let's go win the flip and get some rest. Because we were offensively, especially Calvante, because we motioned him so much and threw the ball to him so much. He was pretty wasted at that time, and his gas was pretty much out of gas. And then for real time he probably got 10 minutes of rest with the flip and everything. And thank goodness we won it. And we went defense first, and sure enough, they scored on a great throw by the quarterback on 3rd and long, and then we scored, and we already knew we was going for 2. We had the timeout. We made sure we knew what we wanted to do, and we told Baylor, don't run him off this time, because he was in man looking at him again, but he came off again. I said, don't run him off, block him, and Baylor forced him inside. That's what gave Calvante the pylon there, and you saw how much talent and hat speed he has when he saw it. So it was a crazy moment, and great for the fans. My wife showed me some video that somebody was doing up there, and that's the loudest thing I've ever heard. That place is loud, so it was a neat deal.
Indeed, his hat speed was amazing. You showed it to us from the end zone view at Chalk Talk. All right, want to ask you about this. A very unusual stat. You said never happened to you in 29 years of coaching. 5 touchdown passes to 5 different receivers, and Calvante Dixon was not one of the 5.
Well, and that's what I was asked the coaches. I said, I bet. How many of you know how many touchdown passes we threw? And, some said 5. And so how many did Moochie have, Calvante have? And, I think one coach says he didn't have any. But the rest of them was looking around, really? Because he had a great night, but he didn't score, and he's our leading receiver touchdown-wise. But I've never thrown it to 5 different receivers for touchdowns in a game. We've thrown it several times for 5 touchdowns, but it's at least one of those times it was one receiver have 2 or 3 of those catches for touchdowns. So that's amazing that.
All right, want to go back to Heritage just for one more time and talk about them. Scott, I definitely underestimated them going into the ball game. Much better than I thought they were. Boy, we faced some better receivers. Jackson Shipley, I think, is the best that we've faced in 12 years. But they had a duo. I don't know if we've had a duet to face as good as Langston Anderson. He's number 88, and Jay Wilkerson, number 8. Both of them going to go to Big 12 schools.
Yeah, they're really good. The guys from Stafford that we played, they were very good. One of them, they were both SEC players. One of them played a lot at A&M this year, played some there last year, and we thought the other one was better, and I think he's going to Auburn or something, or I know he's been offered by Auburn. But this quarterback made him special too. He put the ball on the money, and they wasn't wide open all the time, and he put the ball on the money. But they were really good. I'm not taking nothing against them, but we played a lot of good receivers, in our 12 years, but they're right at the top as far as a duo of receivers. I'd say that's a correct assessment.
All right, let's go now to Friday night. Going to be the Henderson Lions, and coach, the 3rd straight year that Carthage has faced Henderson in the regional finals, which is also the state quarterfinals. So we've seen Henderson this year, but remind us who they have.
Well, they had the same people. They're the same guys. I think 6 is a little bit more healthy this year. I mean, this time than he was the first time we played. He had a big brace on, and I think they're using him more as either the wildcat or even a running back a little bit. It's the Alexander kid, and he can really run. And other than that, they look like the same numbers. Look like they've gotten a little better. And we played well over there the first time, especially defensively. And so hopefully we can match that intensity. And we didn't feel like we played great. We thought we ran the ball well, but we didn't throw it very well. I think 140 yards. We had a lot of things, and it's going to come down to execution and the weather and things. I just looked at the report. It's 100% throughout the game. of rain, and some says it's heavy rain, and so that's a factor. And we're not using any excuses. We're going. It's all about mental toughness and who plays the best at this point. And it will take some game plan stuff out, obviously, if it's flooding like crazy, and but that it's going to take some of theirs out too. So there's no, like I said, we tell our players we're built for this time of year, of any kind of weather, any kind of football, and now all we got to do is go execute and be more, tougher than Henderson.
All right, well, let's remove some rumors. Just before I walked in here, the station was telling me they're getting calls today indicating that they've heard that the game has been changed to tonight. So it is tomorrow night, Friday night, correct? 7:30.
I hope so. I'm not ready to go tonight. Now, we wanted to move it to tonight, just to, for fans and student safety. Whether it's our band, buses, or whatever, and they didn't want to do it, but it is what it is.
All right. Tell us where the officials are coming from.
They're coming from Houston. He wanted to go UIL, so we went UIL.
All right.
Well, actually, he didn't. He just didn't want to use our chapter, so we decided to go UIL, and then we don't know where they're coming from, but we got it, I think, Monday or Tuesday that they're coming from Houston.
So how's the UIL decide on how to go about that?
You just turn it over to their hands. I think that we scratched some chapters and that we didn't like, and then they pick it out of the hat. I guess I don't know how they decided, but when we put it in their hands, that we don't have no control after that. They just send a chapter. We've had them out of Abilene, Austin, or wherever, and Wichita Falls, Beaumont. But
so this is the chapter you're not acquainted with. I mean, this is a crew you're not acquainted with.
No, we never used. I didn't recognize the name. I don't know if he's used them or not, but we didn't select on there that a crew that neither team has used. So
okay.
I don't know if he's ever used them or not. I would doubt it. Seriously.
All right. Well, we're in the quarterfinals. This would be game number 14. Incidentally, your record now at Carthage in the playoffs, 50 wins and 5 losses. Okay. What's the attitude of the team this week, Scott?
Oh, it's great. We've I think we're ready to go. I think we're healthy. I think Kel Williams' shoulder went down, but I think he may go Friday. And other than that, we're all good, and you can't ask for anything more to be playing in December and having an opportunity to move on. And we play well, we feel good about it. If we don't, then we'll be watching Henderson play next week. And we're super excited, and hope our fans show up much as they can in the weather and see if we can get this thing done.
All right, one more question I ask you every week, and I want to make sure I do it this week too. What do you know about next week if we go on?
Next week we're on the list for NRG in Houston, but I don't think we're going to get it. Honestly, it's just because Liberty Hill's not agreeing to it. They want to play outside, and you had to have a 4-team lock to even get in there. And so he's the only one I talked about it, because when he didn't agree to it, it wasn't no sense in talking to everybody else if they would do it, because you got to have a lock anyway. And the guy told me probably that there wasn't going to be any high school teams in there anyway. He said it was up in the air just because there's Christmas parties and things. And I said, well, just curious where we at on the list. And I think he said you're either 4 or 5. So it wasn't a real good chance us getting in there anyway. So, but probably Houston area. NRG was going to be 5 miles further for them, I believe, or further for us. And we looked at New Caney. We're on the list there, and it's about 20 minutes further for them than it is us. And I'd like to get them indoors, and they're not wanting to. And the Ford Center, I think, you have to have locks, and it's already full. So we're going to go outside again, probably play in the Houston area, I'm saying.
Okay.
Because that's the more neutral one. They got to travel a little bit further to go to Dallas than we do.
All right, very good. Those are the words of head coach Scott Surratt. Friday night, Lobo Stadium, 7:30. The kickoff will be on there about 7 o'clock with a look at the starting lineups if you cannot be there. For Coach Surratt, I'm Larry Allen. Have a great weekend, everyone.